Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. And welcome to the Church of Awesome, how to become an unlimited creator in your life. And that's what this video is about. Okay, so in the video before this one that came out last night, and by the way, I'm uploading my videos an hour earlier at 7 o'clock, so people on the East Coast, for those of you who stay up somewhat late, you can still get to see them around 10 o'clock your time. Okay, so the intro to this about unlimited power, unlimited creation. Okay, one thing I found out and began to notice in life was there's patterns to everything. So like when you're in any kind of sport or anything, math, science, etc., you'll start to see patterns. Okay, so because when you're in the beginning of something, you don't see the patterns because everything is new and you don't know what connects to what. But you begin to start simplifying things because there's very simple patterns. The music will go down in about 10 seconds. So whether it's in boxing or kickboxing or sports or math or physics or science or whatever, it could be raising a child. The more you start to see the simplicity of the overall patterns, what I'm going to call the meta patterns, all of a sudden you're like, oh, so essentially all we're doing is this. Like, yeah. In fact, the pattern of life or the pattern of the universe is something I discovered in my creation of my course that I call Crack the Female Code. Now, this video is not necessarily about my course, Crack the Female Code for Men, but I'm going to use an example of something that is everywhere, and it simplified everything for me. So all of a sudden, talking to women, meeting women, understanding women became very, very easy, coming from a place of, I don't understand women, women are nuts, women are crazy, they don't make any sense to me, and all of a sudden, when I saw this one pattern, everything fell into place. And I began to see this pattern everywhere, not just in dating relationships, but life, business, math. I mean, this pattern is everywhere. It's literally in your kitchen sink. This is the pattern of life and the entire universe. Everything uses this pattern in our dimension, in our universe. If you learn how to use it, you will gain more power. You will gain more happiness, you'll gain more love, etc., etc. And I'm going to give it to you right now. Everything in life is based on the internal and external energy. Everything that I teach comes down to this one page. That's how simple this 6-day course becomes. Once you see all the patterns, you're like, wait a minute, that's internal and external again. Yeah. Men are completely out of balance. They do not do the internal almost at all. Like, very few men do this. It's very rare for men to do both internal and external awareness, energy, etc. Now, I'm going to explain what this is, and then I'm going to wrap this back around to the Bible and how to be very careful of anyone, whether it's the church or a coach or anyone who puts limitations on you. Here's the purpose of this video is to make you unlimited, to where you can begin to expand and grow and develop and have this continual path of learning and growing and becoming more of who you are. Versus being stuck, stagnant, held back, locked down, you can't seem to do anything in life. It's because of your beliefs. Your beliefs are powerful. And these limiting beliefs you received from the very people that you thought were good for you, and they were not at all. The reason why they gave you these limiting beliefs is because they are coming from the limited part of the brain. They are unwilling to open up, which is what the word Christ itself literally means to open up to your right brain, to open up to the possibilities, expansion. Now I'm going to get more into the teachings of Christ and how it applies to you becoming more and more unlimited. Now there's a I forget what a genre or whatever you call it online called Stoicism, and you get all these men. Now I have a client right now who's really into this, and the only reason why men are into Stoicism is because they're locked into their left linear logical brain. So they have one half of this picture. You cannot complete the circuit, the circle, the energy flow. It's like breathing out and never breathing in. You have no power. Now, people, whether it's men or women or this group or that group, if they have no power, they latch on to things that limit them, that agree with their, hey, this is what you're going through in life, right? Yeah, well, we're going to make up some fake reasons and say, you're right, you're limited, and that's just the way life is. Life sucks, and just tell people these beliefs and limit them too. Now, here's the thing. When you are stuck in limitation, you really go like, well, this is just the way life is. Like, Michael, I'm like 30 years old now. I'm 40. Like, I've done everything and I can't get out of it. I mean, there's like you. So I realized, like, well, you know, when I listen to this Stoicism stuff, it matches with what my life experience is. I'm like, wow, that really sucks. Why would you listen to something that matches your life if your life sucks? Your beliefs are powerful, including your limiting beliefs. And yes, in NLP and hypnosis, we go over beliefs and how to help people to change their limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs that launch them forward in life. So you can change a belief. A belief I used to have, my mother used to always say to me, oh, the more money you have, the more stress you have. Well, every time I'd make money, I would get this tremendous amount of fear in my gut and my solar plexus. And for many years, I didn't understand. I was afraid of money. I was like, no, you know, I would work for free instead of getting paid. Because getting paid meant this fear was going to come up. But working for free felt really, really good. I felt good for helping people. It's a really shitty way of going through life. Now, was my mother the god of the universe? No, and I'm not trying to be negative, but the fact of the matter, she's just another human being. I mean, I think she didn't even have a high school education, if that, right? So, is she God? No, she told me something when I was a little child, when we were very impressionable. We take on beliefs and values and rules blindly without even realizing what's going on. And we just assume, oh, well, this must be true. And it's very unconscious. So you become an adult and you're like, why am I struggling so much? You have to find out. And when you do and you change and heal the belief, all of a sudden, everything begins to fall into place. This is the female and male symbol. One day, on accident, I put them on the opposite side. Instead of pink, left, and right blue, I flipped them and I saw something. Because this is the pattern. It's right here. It's right in front of you. It's in everything that you do. It's everywhere. You've seen it, heard it, and talked about it your entire life. So one day I was drawing this graph to explain something to my client. And on the left, I put the male symbol. And on the right, I put the female symbol. And one of the things I teach men is like, look, men want to go straight to sex because they connect, number one, groin to groin, where a woman connects mentally first. First, mental connection through mental communication, mentally stimulating communication. And then when that lockbox is filled up, it'll open up, it'll pop open, she'll drop down and connect on a heart level emotionally. Now she wants to bond with you on an emotional level, so you have to learn how to open up to your right brain and speak the internal language for emotionally fulfilling communication and connections. So a lot of times women will tell men, hey, you know, my needs aren't being met. She's talking about mentally stimulating communication and right brain internal, which is the hidden language for men. The right brain internal, mentally stimulating and emotionally fulfilling language for romance, love, and female right brain seduction. It's the proper form that women like, enjoy, and understand. See, when a man connects first sexually with a woman, she can't get emotionally fulfilling love from him. Therefore, no matter how much sex she has, she doesn't feel complete. She doesn't feel whole. She doesn't feel that complete emotional connection with him. And therefore, she feels empty inside, which is the worst thing in the world for a woman to feel. Ladies, please speak up and let men know this. So, number one, she connects mentally, then emotionally, and then physically, and this completes the entire circuit. For men, this is like the battery in a car. If you don't have both the negative and the positive connected to the battery, the circuit can't complete, and therefore the car won't start, etc., etc. This is literally a circuit. Now, if you do it the female way, First mentally, then go down to the heart emotionally, then sexually. It gives her full energy, and it gives you full energy, because now you connect physically. Now, ladies, this is going to shock you, believe it or not, but men have to connect physically, and that opens them up to their heart, and thus opens them up to the right brain on an unconscious level due to the chemicals being released after him having a sexual orgasm. Now, the energy flows all the way through the circuit, from his head to her head, down through the body, and then back up through his body to his head. It completes the circuit. And this is a complete, emotionally fulfilling and meaningful relationship that you want to be in. The reason why most men and women argue and fight is because he keeps trying to connect sexually first. Now for him, that's normal, because it does open him up to his heart emotionally, because the chemical release of oxytocin, etc., through having sex, okay? It relaxes him. Now for women, it's a mental high. That's why you got to connect with a woman first mentally, through mentally stimulating communication, because that releases oxytocin for you, but for you it acts like a caffeine high, but that'll eventually open you up to your heart emotionally, and you begin to feel the same feeling he feels after he has an orgasm. So if you do it the female way first, both of you get to have that relaxing, content feeling. So I started to notice this pattern in my course, Crack the Female Code. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, God led me down this path. There's no two ways about it, because I never would have learned, even if this was put in front of my face, it wouldn't have made no sense to me. One day, look at the top. I made this symbol on the left, the male symbol. Why I did that, I don't know. And then I drew the arrow over to the right, and I went, wait a minute. Because I had been teaching the internal language for years. I already understood that. It's like, oh my God, it's right in front of my face. Her symbol goes of her head, and then it goes down. So men, if you want to learn more about this, buy my book, Crack the Female Code. It will blow your mind and what you're going to learn in that book. That book alone will change your life. It will open up a doorway to understanding women in a way that you have never heard or seen or felt before in your entire life. See, the thing is, men are not wrong, and women are not wrong. We're just different. The problem is we don't know this. We assume, well, she's just like me. She wants to have sex right away. No, she wants to bond emotionally. That's the first thing. She needs to connect with you mentally first, and then emotionally. We are different. It doesn't mean we're wrong. The really interesting thing is, if you do it the correct way, step 1, step 2, step 3, she comes back around and connects with you in your step 1, step 2, step 3. There is a patterned way to do this now here's the thing, it adds energy to both. If you do it this way, it's like the alternator in a car. The more you drive it, the more energy builds up. So now you have excess energy, you have extra energy for your children. And what happens in most relationship, he connects first sexually from his 1 to her 3. It's like putting a metal rod over your battery, over the negative and positive battery poles, and it's going to build up the energy and it's going to drain the battery and or make it explode. And this is the anger and the fighting, and eventually you're both just exhausted and drained. There's a better way. And this isn't just polite, respectful. It is really romantic for women. It is really passionate. It is seductive. It's the kind of seduction that women wish men would do. But we're blind to it. And ladies, this is why I wrote you the book, Why Men Just Don't Get It, and the follow-up book, Every Woman's Battle, The Need for Love and Emotional Fulfillment. Now, I'm going to break this pattern down and make it really obvious. Now, here's a communication pattern that women do. They go from left brain, picture A, to right brain, picture B. Women speak in the indirect language when they're in their right brain. So they say A, but they don't mean A. They mean something more meaningful and deeper, B. The male brain does not do that. It says A and it means A, and that's it. So the male brain's the left brain, the logical processor, which men are stuck in like 99% of the time. Women can go left, right, left, right. So when she's in her left brain, she's on the same page. She's using the same processor, speaking the same left brain external language that men are speaking. And during this time, he really understands her, and she really understands them. They're speaking the same language, using the same left brain processor. They're on the same page. There's clarity and understanding. But when she switches to the emotional relationship brain, the spiritual brain, suddenly she doesn't say A means A. She says A, but what does it really mean? Well, it really means be. Or what is the deeper meaning of that? This is that same pattern I keep talking about, internal and external energy. It's everywhere. You cannot deny it. You cannot void it. Now look at this next image. Oh, by the way, these images are from my manual, The Course for Men, Crack the Female Code. Now this image I just randomly found online. Now it's going to get to the bottom. Hold on. And at the very bottom it says the battery effect. Our energy is cyclical like a battery. If you do it correctly, it unlocks information inside you. It unlocks emotions and feelings and your power. You know where the Bible says something, and when two or more are come in my name or pray in my name, you gain more power. Your prayers start to come true. Now I'm going to give you examples of this internal and external energy that I keep talking about how it's everywhere. And by the way, the cyclical energy, you need to be able to flow it in your own body first before you get into a relationship. And that's the internal awareness course that I teach you. In other words, there are very specific techniques that you can learn and practice and develop to allow this energy to flow within you. Most people, the energy is not flowing because they're not connected to their self. This is the internal awareness that Jesus talks about when he says, look within. Because looking within connects you to yourself, which allows the energy to flow in a cyclical pattern. This is healthy. This is wholeness. Very few people actually know how to do this, let alone do it. So you're going to be listening to people in any endeavor, whether it's the Stoic group or a Christian church group, people who are disconnected from themselves and they're only seeing one side of the picture. Therefore, they don't understand what they're reading. They don't understand what they're doing. Your brain isn't processing it in both the left and the right brain way. Therefore, you're only getting half the picture. Are you ready? Here it is. The internal and external energy is you breathe in and you breathe out. The water comes into your sink through the faucet, that's the external energy, and then it goes down into the sink, and eventually that water goes out to a waterway somewhere, it goes back into the earth. Have you ever looked at how rain gets developed? Well, the water evaporates, it floats up, it creates clouds, and then the clouds float over land, and something happens to them, and the water drops back down. There is a cyclical effect happening. Your left brain is the external brain. The right brain is the internal brain. Most people do not complete this circuit. The male penis is the external symbol. The female vagina is the internal symbol. The energy that goes in between men and women is in and out, in and out, in and out. Literally, the waves crash in and then the waves get pulled back out. The waves crash in and the waves get pulled back out. Your heart, there's internal blood that gets pulled in and there's external blood that gets pushed out. You have veins. The veins are the returning energy and the arteries are the push energy. It's push. The male brain is the push energy. The male penis is the push energy. The male language is the external push language. This is why women are always telling men, stop being so pushy. You can't help it. And you're like, and men are like, what are you talking about? I'm not being pushy. The cross is the internal and external symbol. This is completion. The cross means the 3D plus the higher spiritual levels. It's connected down through you into the earth. It is grounded. Now, people that are either left or right brain and they're divided, they're not complete human beings, and therefore they can only see one side of the fence, and they're looking at you like you're absolutely crazy. And this is what happens between men and women all the time, but it's not just men and women. Alright, so here's what I'm talking about. Oh, but by the way, the universe is also the internal and external. It expands and then it contracts. It expands and then it contracts. Just like when a woman is giving birth. Just like music begins to build and then it drops down. And it has a regular, staccato or whatever it's called. And then it begins to build and then it goes back down. And then it builds. And eventually the third, fourth, or fifth, or sixth time, it has an orgasm or a crescendo, which means orgasm. And it explodes, and just all this loud music. And then it goes back down, and now it's soothing and contentful music. This pattern is everywhere. You are a generator of energy just like a car's engine, like an alternator, except you don't need gasoline. If you have this flowing energy, it continues to grow and grow and grow. It builds energy. Now here's the difference between you and a narcissist. A narcissist is only 100% external energy. They don't understand. It's not even that they don't understand. They're not aware of anything internal at all. Everything to them is external. That's why they view things in such a black and white way. They truly experience the world as this external world about logic, rules, structure, organization. If you have something, I have to take it from you. I have to kill you or beat you down. I have to destroy you, because they don't see right now. If a narcissist listens to my video when I'm talking about internal stuff, they're like, oh, this guy's so full of shit. They do not believe it because they've never had the experience. One thing I would tell you is my male clients, when they come in the door, after about 3 or 4 days, when they open up to the right brain, they're like, holy shit, they're like, what is this? Like, it is a complete mind shift. All of a sudden, everything they've heard from their mothers, their sisters, their high school female English teachers, and the women they've dated or married, like, wow, my wife says that all the time. I go, you understand that now, don't you? See, you can't understand right brain thoughts, processes, ideas from the left brain, because that's the wrong processor. It can't process right brain communication or ideas or thoughts or creativity or anything. But when a man opens up to his right brain, there will be a moment when he's sitting there while I would just shut up, and his brain goes through a transderivational search for 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes. I will just sit there and stare at him. And after a while, I'll say, you're having a lot of memories coming up all the way from childhood through high school and your young adult years. He's like, man, women have been saying this to me my entire life, but I didn't understand. I thought they were just crazy. I thought they were speaking gibberish. It is a life-altering and a life-changing experience. And let me tell you something right now. The Christ energy is the right brain energy. It is the internal awareness. That is what was hidden from us by our churches. They hid the Mary Magdalene, the true teachings, because it's all about female energy. The female energy is the creative power that the book of Genesis was talking about. Since we are generators of energy, narcissists look at us and like, oh, that person has a lot of energy, I'm going to suck the energy off of them. Because it's think of it like this. Now, an alternator in a car, ladies, if you don't know, is once the car gets started, the alternator builds up energy. Okay, so it doesn't even take the energy from the battery anymore. Otherwise, batteries would run out like in 30 days or less. The alternator creates more and more energy, and it recharges the battery. So while the engine is spinning, the alternator is spinning, which is building and building more. It's generating more energy. A narcissist, it's like they don't have this generator. They don't have this alternator. And thus, they have to suck off of other people. That's why they have to gaslight you and do all these things, because they got to get you to open up, and therefore they can suck the energy out of you. See, narcissists want their own energy source, but they this is why they're pissed off at you. They don't understand why you have all the energy. It makes them angry. They don't want to rely on you, but they have to, and that really pisses them off. They need you to survive, otherwise they'll die. They won't live a very long life. They'll bounce from person to person to person and drain their energy until finally people are like, screw you, and then they start getting really sick, like cancer and all kinds of things, and they slowly begin to die. Now here's the deal. A narcissist would love to have their own generator, their own alternator generator. But number one, they don't believe in it. They just think, well, for some reason you're favored and you got lucky. And they don't understand, but they'll never admit that, well, you have something that they don't. And what it is they won't open up. All you need to do is open up, and you'll have plenty of energy. This is where the Bible says, man does not live on bread and water alone. He lives on the manna from the heavens above. But in order to receive that spiritual energy or spiritual food, you have to know how to open up. And believe it or not, but a lot of Christian men don't open up at all. So in the last video, I mentioned this young man. They were in this religious group and trying to reach out to people. And, young man, he was in his 30s. He wasn't that young. And he was a very logical dude. In fact, he even said, wow, I like the way you speak about that logically. And I'm looking at him like, I'm not being logical, but he processes everything through his left brain. Therefore, it's filtered through logic. Therefore, he experiences it as logic, even though I wasn't being logical. Now, as I said in the last video, I brought up the teachings of Christ, the actual verbiage, what Jesus literally said. He says, if ye believe, you shall receive whatever you ask for in prayer. And I was talking about healing. Christ, the woman reached out and touched his cloth, and the energy drained from Christ and went into her, and she was healed instantly from bleeding for months and months, I think even years. And Christ didn't say, I, King of the world, egotistical, I healed thee. No, Christ did not say that. He literally said, and if you don't believe me, reread your Bible. He looked at her and in front of the crowd said, because of your faith. He said, I just forgot it. He said, by ye faith, ye are healed. He said, because you believed, you are healed. He constantly says this in the Bible. He also says, if you believe, you shall receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Now, this minister, I don't think he was quite a minister, but he was like, he was a representative of the church. He literally said, well, he goes, Michael, I don't believe that. He goes, there's limitations to, what did he say? I forgot. Limitations to healing or limitations to believing or something like that. And I'm like, and I literally giggled and I go, oh, I'm sorry, because I couldn't help it. And I'm like, wait, what? Limitations? He just gave himself away. He sees everything through the limited mind, which is the left brain. The left brain is in the box thinking. Therefore, you're limited to whatever's in the box, and you're unwilling to open up to see anything that's outside of that box. And you have a really hard time believing anything that's not in your left brain box. People who are left and right brain, which are mostly women, it's a normal thing for them. They're very adept to seeing other options and possibilities because the right brain is about options and possibilities. So in order to justify his perspective on life, he literally started making things up. Well, that's why Jesus didn't heal everybody. Now, I have never heard anyone read this anywhere in the Bible. Oh, well, that's why Jesus didn't heal it, because there's a limitation to that. Limitation? Says who? One of the things that confounds me is like, well, what Bible are you reading? That's not the King James or the NIV or any of the Bibles about Christ. Like you must be reading a completely different Bible from somewhere else. But this is my experience with a lot of Christians. It's like, well, wait a minute, that's not what it says. So I pulled up a couple verses I'm just going to read off. Let me just kind of read down this from here. So Christ literally said, if ye believe, you shall receive whatever. What did he say? Whatever you ask for in prayer. He didn't say, well, it's limited and blah. No, he says, whatever. If you believe, it's going to happen. He says, by ye faith, ye are healed. He didn't say there's a limitation to it. And this is where you get a lot of people, i.e. Christians, saying, oh, well, and they add stuff on. There's a limitation. Says who? Where? And I literally said, where does it say that in the Bible? He goes, well, and he kind of got quiet. I'm like, yeah, because you're making it up. You really shouldn't do that when it comes to the Bible. So be careful of people that are limited. Now, I pulled up a couple things here. Let me see. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, so Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ. So wait, what? Where does it say limitations? It says I can do all things through Christ. This is why I look at a lot of people that call themselves Christians. I'm like, where does it say limitations? Where does it say you're not allowed? Like, where is this coming? Like, show me. And they get real quiet because they can't, because they literally made it up to justify their own limitations, their own limiting beliefs. These people are reading the Bible, they're going to college and learning things to support and to excuse their limitations. They're trying to find things where, hey, I'm in a box, I'm afraid to step out, so I'm going to use all this information and twist it and turn it, and I'm going to say things that it doesn't say, so therefore I can justify my limitations, and I want you to be limited just like me. Nowhere does it say you're limited. Nowhere does it say limitations. It doesn't say that. But here, now watch this. Remember how I keep talking about how we have filters? If you have a belief, now by the way, if you're in your logical brain, you are already limited. You look at the world in a limited view because it's literally like looking under a microscope. I just see one molecule, an atom, and an electron, etc. Like that's all you see because you're looking under a microscope. So from that perspective, if you don't open up to the right brain to see the bigger picture, which by the way is the right brain, you'll think, well, this is life. It's just atoms and molecules. There's a limitation here, Mike. You will filter everything through limitations and say, well, there's a limitation here. And it's like it's a default. It's like that's not real at all. You're making it up. Okay, let me read this off. I just noticed this right now. So then it says, after Philippians 4:13, it says, it expresses the belief that with faith in Jesus Christ, individuals can overcome challenges and achieve their goals. It's a message of empowerment through faith and a reminder that God's strength is available to believers. To what? Believers, not limiters. I'm sorry, what did Jesus say? If ye, here comes that powerful word again, believe, you shall receive. Oh, here's another really powerful word. Whatever you ask for in prayer. I do not see, hear, feel, smell, or taste limitation. I hear, smell, see, hear, feel, smell, and taste unlimited. Open, expansive, freedom, total freedom. If I give you one tip, pay attention to people who use the word limit, limitations, and limiting. Get away from them. Now here's another powerful verse. Genesis 1:26. Then God said, let us make humans in our image, in our likeness. Sounds pretty damn powerful to me. You were literally made in the image of God, in the likeness of God. That is not limited. All I'm saying is all things are possible if you believe. I'm not saying you're a god. I'm not saying you're the ruler of the universe, but I am telling you, you can do amazing, amazing things if you go in a direction, focus on the goals, and you truly believe. I'm going to take the first 2/3 of that away. If you believe, that's all I'm saying. When people say, oh, I don't believe that, whoa, you should really hear that. They literally told, well, I don't believe that. When a pastor of a church I went to for many years, when I read off these verses, if you believe you shall receive whatever you ask for in prayer, and I said, Christ literally says whatever. And then I said, throw yourself unto, if you believe, you can say into this mountain, throw yourself unto the ocean, and it shall be so. And about the woman reaching out and touching his cloth, and Jesus says, by ye faith ye are healed. He goes, well, Michael, I don't really believe that Jesus meant what he said. Literally, that was the last day I went to that church. Very few people truly believe in the teachings and words of Christ, and I mean very few. We're talking less than 3%. Here's the thing you have to understand. I don't believe in religion. I'm not trying to tell you to be a Christian at all. I'm telling you the teachings are always about imagining, visualizing, seeing, hearing, and feeling, and knowing, believing. It always comes down to that. Whoever or whatever created this experience, I call that person, being, entity, spirit, soul, energy, God. It was meant to be an adventure. It was meant to be fun. It was meant to be a dance. It was about the dance of life. How can you play with the energy? It's all about internal or external energy, and you could do it in a million different ways. It's not one little thing. Well, you can apply it to making a gun, shooting a gun, gunpowder, to a bicycle wheel, a chain, breathing in, breathing out, exercising, sports, physiology, physics. It's supposed to be this creative, passionate, empowering, exciting, creative endeavor in life that fills you with curiosity and fun and makes life more than worthwhile. It makes it more than meaningful. It gives you a reason to wake up the next morning and to go after it. Life was meant to be exciting. It was meant to be fulfilling. It was meant to be meaningful. It was meant to be this fun experience, this happiness and this joy. filled with warmth and love and just embracing the people that are important to you, embracing the people that you feel close to or want to feel close to. Now let me tell you something right now. I'm going to ask you a question first. Anything that I've said before this moment in this video is nothing but positive. But I promise you, there are going to be people that are stuck in the logical brain, which is the minus side brain. It's either you or me. It's all about conflict. It's all about limitations. They're going to look at this whole video and they're going to pick it apart and say, oh, well, you're a sinner. You're going to hell. In that little bit that I just shared with you, do you see and or hear or feel the energy difference? It's all about enlightenment. It's all about love. It's all about peace. The fruits, what does the Bible say? Fruits of their labor. Fruits of, judge by their fruits. Do you feel good when you're around them? Do you feel creative? Do you feel excited? Do you feel warmth? Do you feel love? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel comfortable with yourself when you're around that person? If you don't, I promise you, get away from them and your life will become better. Just believe, and you shall receive. If you believe in limitations, I promise you, you shall receive them for the rest of your life. If you surround yourself with people who take the Bible and turn it into limitations, that's going to be what you're going to receive in life. Surround yourself with people that are positive, that are unlimited, people that believe that you can grow, that you can develop, that you can become richer, that you can become financially more stable, that you can be in a relationship that's actually loving and complete, that fills you with contentment and wholeness. It's a choice who you choose to listen to and who you choose to be around. You don't need to have a reason why you don't like being around someone. If you just, for some reason, your body doesn't feel good, you just don't feel comfortable, you don't feel free. See, the thing that I teach people, when you do that internal awareness, you expand your energy to where you're not locking on and controlling them. It's letting go. It's complete release of anyone and everything around you, including trees and animals and dogs and everything. See this? Okay, I was at the park the other day, and these two dogs run right up to me. Now I was laying on my towel, catching some sun, and they literally start cuddling me, and they were rubbing up again. They were rubbing on their backs, and the owners go, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, it's okay." And him and his wife go, "They've never done that. They avoid people." And I go, "Never?" He goes, "Never." He goes, "Except with us at home." He goes, "I've never seen this." And they wouldn't leave. And the owners kept trying to walk away. And I kept trying to grab the dogs and push them away. It's because the dogs felt love. They felt free. They felt this spaciousness. You can create an awesome life if you take the right steps. The reason why I was talking about the patterns in the beginning is because it really is that simple. So the patterns of life. Do you feel good around these people? Yes or no? Do not complicate it. Do not try to understand it. Do not try to justify it. That complicates things. Do you feel fully, completely supported? Do you feel like you can go after your endeavors, your dreams, your goals, and these people feel good about it? Or do you feel like they're like, oh, who do they think they are? Oh, what makes you think you can do this? If you're getting that feedback, you're like, yeah, these are not my people. Life becomes very simple. Do you feel loved? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel good about yourself? How do you experience life when you're around certain people? If it's not a really positive thing, move on. It's okay. In the meantime, buy my dating and relationship books. I think you're going to be surprised by what you learn in them. Women, buy the book Why Men Just Don't Get It, and also buy the book Every Woman's Battle, the Need for Love and Emotional Fulfillment. It will shock you at what you learn. It will also relieve you of a lot of emotional pain. A lot of emotional pain is due to complete and total misunderstanding because we are neurologically wired different for romance, love, communication, and sex/seduction. It's different. When men do it in the male way, it hurts you. When they learn how to do it in the female way, all of a sudden you bond with them, you connect with them, you feel close to them, and everything, including sex, becomes better. And for men, when you learn how to do this, it does not make you feminine. It actually puts you into your power. It's like putting an alternator in the car and connecting the negative and the positive wires onto the battery poles. It makes you more powerful, not less powerful. When you're limited in your logical ego, you're extremely limited. In fact, you're stuck. Buy my book, Crack the Female Code, and begin this journey. The one thing I want to recommend, and I'll leave this video at this, be awesome. Alright guys, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button, click that bell, click the like button. Go ahead and make a comment, and if you want, as always, you can go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. If you don't want to make a donation, go ahead and buy one of my books. I would greatly appreciate that. And for those of you who have bought my books in the past, who have taken my coaching courses, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much for supporting me and supporting this channel. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.